Well, as model kits go, this is not in like collector's mint condition, but boy am I happy to have it. Welcome to this week's Table Talk. Hello, welcome to Modelkit Stuff. A big welcome to this week's Table Talk. My name is Jason. Yeah, we do this every week because if I did it monthly, I'd forget half of it. So we do it weekly and just catch up with where we're up to. So if you're a new subscriber or not seen a Table Talk before, what we do is we talk about what's been happening behind the films and things that you get to see, what's going on, what the stash ads are, what happened last week, what's coming up, all that sort of stuff. And this is a very big stash ad and we'll be talking about that in a minute or two. So got quite a bit to get through this week, but let's start with rewinding back to the start of the week and what we got up to there. So Monday, we kicked off Monday with the review of the Swallowtail airbrush, trigger airbrush from Gallery. It's a lovely, lovely brush. I've been using it on my Scharnhorst. You will see where we're up to with the Scharnhorst later on in the video. And it's a real pleasure to use. I was a little bit, having never used a trigger airbrush before, I was a little bit concerned that I might not have the control that you have with an ordinary airbrush, because if you think about it, you're holding it like a pen and that's giving you ultimate control, and this you're gripping. But I was wrong. You've got all the control you could need, and it's very comfortable to use. I'm not sure I would use it for fine details, even though, you know, there's a needle there to allow you to do it. I still think I want that fine finesse of holding it like a pen, but it's going to do a lot more than I thought it would do. So it's going to have all sorts of uses. So yeah, really nice instrument to have a play with, and many of you like the video. And just a reminder, if you're interested in one of those, you can get 10% off of my discount code, and if you use my link to their webpage, you can get all of the live discounts and then my discount on top. Someone commented they were struggling to use it. Just check the spelling. There was a period of time when Gallery had spelt Modelkit Stuff incorrectly. They have since corrected that, so it should now be okay. But I copy and paste the little bit that you see in the text with the link, and if I've taken it from a video that's a bit early, it might have been misspelled, but it should be okay. Modelkit Stuff 010, all one word, no spaces, in your discount section at checkout, and it'll take 10% off. So yeah, and that I don't know, I've not tested it to see whether that affects shipping or not, but if you've got a spend of over 50 and you're in UK, US and Europe, you now get free shipping. So yeah, and there's other things you can do on their website as well, so you can set yourself up for loyalty points and all sorts of stuff. So if you buy more paint cups and caps and needles and things, they all create points, and then you could perhaps get yourself another airbrush. And if they bring out something new, and they're certainly working on stuff all the time, then that might be helpful. So anyway, enough about airbrushes. Tuesday we had the next part of the endeavour. I know it's not for everyone, the endeavour. Wooden modelling isn't for everyone, but believe it or not, my fly videos every month, my fly videos, and I've done nothing with them since, well, I haven't put a video out since just before Christmas, or between Christmas and New Year, I think it was. And I haven't actually done anything on the model for over a year, but every month, one of those fly videos is in my top 10 visited videos. So wooden model ships are something that's underrepresented within the modeling hobby on YouTube. So once we've got the endeavour done, we'll be back onto the fly, and that will bring more subscribers in as well. As always, we've all got our own different interests and sub-interests, and it's really interesting that on my channel at least, well over a third of you principally like to build model ships. So 44% of you principally like to build aircraft, which isn't really my thing. I'm quite new into building aircraft, but you put that together, you know, and that's the majority of people that watch this channel are interested in one or other of those. And at this moment in time, with the Scharnhorst running and the B-17 running, that's ticking everyone's boxes, I think, pretty much. So yeah, that was Tuesday. That's progressing nicely. Then on Wednesday we had the Abrahams from what they called Magic something or other. First time I've had one of their kits. Is it Plastic Magic? Something like that. And I was absolutely blown away by the quality. You always dip your toe in with a little bit of trepidation when you know that the company's origin is China. I've had some Chinese kits, and you know, like Ryfield Hobbies will never build one of their kits again. What a load of junk. Border Hobbies don't like the fact that they leave too much for the modeler to work out, like how to paint it. They're incomplete. They're producing well molded models, but that's not enough. You need the complete package, and they're sort of like just chucking it out and saying buy me, and it's all about making money. And I know all businesses are there about, to make money, but that's the key focus. Whereas you've got smaller companies like Copper State Models, for example, and you'd argue even Mini Art, where they're very focused on the modeler and want to offer them the complete package, even though that means they might be more expensive and they might put less out, but at least you get decent instructions, decent decals, and a yearning to continuous improve. Whereas I think the Chinese, some of the Chinese suppliers at least, think if they do some slide molding and chuck some 3D printed stuff in, that people will just buy it anyway. And they might be right, because I see lots of people reviewing these kits, but I'm not fond of them. But Plastic Magic, that was a really, really nice kit, and I'd have no qualms buying one of their kits again. I know they do some aircraft as well, so it might be interesting to look at some of their aircraft so in the future. So yeah, that was a nice kit. Now I'm recording this early. I'm recording this Wednesday lunchtime, so I don't really know how people have responded to that, but I've not seen too much coverage of it, so I'm hoping that people will be drawn into it. What I usually do is when it's first impressions of something that's fairly new, I go and link it onto ScaleMate so it can get found if someone's interested in that kit. So I need to do that when I finish filming this. Anyway, so that was Wednesday, and I can't remember what's coming up Friday, so I'm going to pause this and have a quick look. The second part of the Char B1. Now, when I last talked to you about that, I said I wasn't sure if it was going to be a 2 or a 3-parter. Might actually stretch to 4, I don't know. But on the painting section, we as memory recalls, because you'll have watched it last night, but I'm not going to have it up until Friday. We're doing sort of the block painting, so we shall have done the block painting and the priming of the tanks, I think. So mainly brush painting on the actual diorama base, but then we airbrush the tanks. It was a total joy painting that. I enjoyed every minute of painting that, and it probably shows, but what I'm trying to do is take you through the process. I have a lot of people who are subscribers to this channel who are new to modelling, and a lot of people who don't use airbrushes at all and are brush painters. So I'm trying to sort of play to those. And you've got to remember that particular kit was chosen by you guys, the subscribers, as one you wanted to see being built. It's the one I never built as a kid, the only one. All the others, I'm fairly sure, I've not seen any other 176 Matchbox kit that I've gone, oh, actually, I never bought that. Once or twice, I've looked at it and gone, I don't remember building that. And then when I think about it, have a look at it, usually I recognise them by the diorama base. So you look at the box and go, did I actually build that one? And then you look at the back and it's got a picture of it in its basic plastic colours of how it builds up. And you go, oh yeah, I remember that building, or I remember that street with the pothole in it. So yeah, I generally always remember them in the end. So yeah, to my knowledge, it's the only one I ever built. So I've now built every Matchbox 176 diorama kit that they ever released. I built some of their aircraft, but not many. Large ones and small ones. Most of them are 172. But I did do a 132. Is it a Dauntless? I can't remember. I know it was American, and I know it was big, and I remember thinking, it's big, but it's not got many parts. It's just 172 scaled up. And it was my first 132 build, and I didn't build another 132 scale kit until very recently. But one Matchbox kit that I absolutely loved was this. So I bought this, not this particular one. I'll tell you the story of this in a sec. I bought this originally back in 1986 or possibly 1987. I started working in 86, so I would have had to save up for it. And to give you an idea, I bought it in a little model shop in Stockport. Now, Peter Oxley knows the model shop because he used to visit the same one. And it cost me £50 back in 1986. So that's the equivalent of about £187 today. So that's how expensive it was. At the time, it was the most expensive kit I'd ever bought. And it was around about 2 weeks' wages for me at that time, because I just started working, bottom of the rung and all that. So it was a serious bit of spend for me. And I remember getting it home and my dad coming home from work and seeing it and going, and I told him how much it cost, and he said, you better do a good job of that. And I think I did. I really enjoyed building it. I spent about a year building it out of the box, but my skill set was such that some things were a bit challenging. So I ended up putting all the posts in for the rails, all the stanchions, but it comes with plastic rod to join it up, and I never did that. But I used that plastic rod for years and years. In fact, I've still got some of it in the attic. I used it for years for all sorts of stuff on dioramas and scratch building and stuff like that. But yeah, I built it as this cover version, which was whatever it is, HMS Bluebell, I think it is. And I did some basic rigging, but not very much of it. And it had some warped parts, and I didn't have the skill or the ability to flatten it. And I didn't do scratch building at that time because I was only 16, 17. So it just got built as it was, and it had some issues. Anyway, I've been after revisiting that build because I'd like to do it properly, and it has some issues, and I'd like to correct those, and I'd like to do some scratch building, and I'd really love to come back to this. And at 172 you can really do some stuff, and this is probably well, it's the mother of all Matchbox kits, really, and testament to that is the fact that even today you can still buy lots and lots of aftermarket to upgrade this if you want, and you can spend 2 to 3 times as much as I spent on this kit to get that. Revell have re-released it several times, most recently as one of their versions, technical versions, where they gave it lights and a motor for the radar and all that sort of stuff. And so it just proves it was probably, for my money, the best kit Matchbox ever made. and it had some real legs, and even today it's coveted. People buy them, convert them to RC, and do a more part. I've seen one at Telford which had cutouts in it, so they'd built all the interior. Lovely stuff. So yeah, it is probably the most iconic Matchbox kit there is. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to build it, but I'm not going to first impression it until I come to build it. And the reason is because I'm going to pass this, lend it, if you will, to a good friend of the channel, Peter Oxley, Matchbox enthusiast. He has never seen one of these. He's never had one in his hands. He's never looked at the kit. So I'm going to drop it off with him, and over a couple of days, while he's got it, he's going to film his review of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Peter makes of this, because he's not really a ship builder, is he? He's a sort of aircraft and vehicle builder, and he's never had anything to do with this. And he does a lot of stuff on Matchbox, and I know a lot of people have been asking him if he could do something on the Corvette. So yeah, now unfortunately, Peter, it's not the best example. Someone has stored this in damp conditions and the decals are ruined, but still good enough for me to make paint masks out of. But basically they're bonded to the paper. There is a couple of bits missing as well, so we've not got the paint instructions, but you can get them digitally in several places, so I've already got a copy of that sorted. And the rigging thread is missing, but I'd probably replace that anyway. So I went into this knowing that this isn't a collector's piece. You know, the box is fairly damaged. It's had some water damage. It's got emulsion paint splattered on it. It's clearly been quite dirty after long-term storage and been wiped down, which has made it look a bit mucky. But I don't care, because everything I need to build the model is in there. The bags of all the kit parts were sealed when I got it, with the exception, well, one sealed, the other one, the tape that taped them down has perished, so the parts were loose, but otherwise everything else in there it is as it was, and is sealed and is in good nick. The anchor chain, which was steel, has rusted, so you could argue that looks even more authentic, but I'm probably likely to replace it for a proper stud chain at 172. I should be able to do that. My only sticking point really is going to be the depth markers there, and you know, the draft marks, and whether we'll be able to find replacement decals at 172. There is one or two places that have them, but they're more than the modern type, so I've got to look into that and take a view. I think I can make paint masks of the pennant numbers and stuff, but even the cloth flags are still in there, and the adhesive is still good. So Peter, you will enjoy it. I'll drop it off you on the date we've discussed, and I look forward to seeing your review. But yeah, I'm so glad I've got this. This could be the next job after Scharnhorst, or maybe we'll do something a bit simpler first. But yeah, so pleased I've got it. I paid 149 quid for it, which is cheap. You won't get an original version like this under 200 in the main. So like I say, when you think about it, you don't really make money on model kits. What you get is the inflationary value back. So this is worth £187 in inflationary marked up money, and I've got it for less than that because it's in a bit of rough condition. So the way I view it is I actually got it at a bit of a bargain. Even though it's a bit rough around the edges, the plastic is good, and that's all I need. So there you go. Right, so that's what happened last week. That's my major stash ad. Shall we talk about what happened on the modelling bench next? So this weekend I was focused on the Scharnhorst, and as you can see we have more paint on her. So we've done the anti-fouling. I've got a little bit of touch up to do where the airbrush didn't quite get in. and I couldn't turn her upside down again, or right way up I should say, to get in. It's often a problem around the propeller shafts, so I've just got to do a little bit more spraying around there. Other than that, we put the white on the bow and the stern, but that ended up, well, the plan last weekend was to get all the hull painting done, the block painting done, so that a bit further down the line we can do the weathering. So I wanted to get to a point where we could start building up the deck structures ready to and painting the deck ready for putting the wood deck on. Suddenly comes to life when you've got a hull with a wood deck on. But we didn't get there because of this little tiny bit here, which is the stern fairleads. So as we were painting the white, I wanted to put the bow and stern fairleads on because they get painted white as well. So it seemed like the right time to do that. And that's how I'd written it down in my instructions sequence, that I was going to do that and then come back later on. I think it's step 139. I come back to it to put the jack staffs on. The trumpeter kit part, which is the bottom section of this, is incomplete. It doesn't have the wake light on it, which is now on there. So what you get is you get the roller fairleads at the end, and then you get two little join pieces which stick out, but the rest of the assembly that's in the middle is missing. What the MK1 set does is they give you a 3D printed resin part which you can then stick in the middle, which has the wake light on. Only the kit part is the early 1939 pattern, so as launched until early 1939. So they've got the wrong part, and the MK1 set have continued that theme and also given you an early 1939 pattern wake light assembly, which is mounted onto a third middle roller fairlead, which is all incorrect. It was replaced mid-39-ish, and the model is depicted as December 1943 as far as trumpeter are concerned. So the stern bow lead's completely incorrect. So I had to cut them, modify them, scratch build this sort of little loopy bit on the top. Let me see if I can get that a bit closer to you so you can see what we're talking about. There you go. You see the little loop dome on the top. Had scratch build all that. Then I had to cut the wake light off the 3D printed resin assembly, which was a bit tricky because it's microscopic, and then glue the wake light onto the top. Now there is a further assembly that I need to do, which neither the kit or the MK1 set does, which is there is a little wire that comes up which has a stern lamp, level facing lamp at the back, which sort of is in front of the flagpole. So when I come to put the jack staffs on, we'll scratch that and put that into place as well. So yeah, I spent a lot of time Sunday morning scratch building that when I was expecting to be painting the dark grey. So that's why the dark grey is not on. Another minor issue I've had when I've taken off some of the masking tape after I painted the white on is that some of the rivets that I've put down have lifted, which is a shame, but I can cut sections out, apply new rivets and touch that up. So it's not a major issue, a bit frustrating though, nonetheless. So even though we'd done everything properly and I'd sealed them in, they're not happy, but you know, it's par for the course that something's going to go wrong. But otherwise, I'm happy with how the paintings come together. Not as happy as I could be with the lower hull. It's come out a bit too even. If I wanted to do what a lot of people do, most people even do, which is sort of showroom condition ship, which they're never in. You know, that they look messy when they're being built, and then they get launched and they look messy again. So it's just a bit too even. I wanted to make it cloudy, so I might go back and try and uneven it a little bit, or I might just leave it to the weathering. I'm happy with the cloudy effect I've done with the white paint, so I've got some unevenness there, and then that'll get broken up when we do the weathering. But we can't do that until the railing stanchions are in place, because they're the streaking grind points, so we can do that all the way along then. So yeah, so my next step is the grey paint. Then we can paint in the moulded in parts on the deck in that dark grey as well. And actually we'll be painting the whole of this deck in that dark grey, so that we've got no paint patches showing through the deck overlay, because they're absolutely full of holes, those things. They're so thin, and because they're sort of made out of a natural wood, the thickness is uneven, and they're because there's lots of holes in there, and you've got actual holes in there, so you want a nice even colour underneath. If you don't do that, you can have a problem. So unless you want an effect where they're darker near the edges, which I have done in the past, and it looked okay, but it didn't look natural because these decks were scrubbed and it's not in scale and all that sort of stuff. So I'll be painting all of this in a dark grey. But just to make life interesting, the thickness of the plastic of the hull, which is just under 1mm, that's also dark grey, but it's a different shade. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do the different shade or not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just put the two paints together on a swatch and see if it makes enough difference to go through the pain of doing that. Otherwise, we can just paint the whole lot with a bit of masking off, and jobs are good and we can crack on at speed. So next time I come to do the Scharnhorst, we should finish the grey, although I'm going to see if I can get that down perhaps Friday night, so that can be drying for 2 weekends time. But we've got a bank holiday this weekend, so this weekend is B17 weekend, and as I've got an extra day, I might find some time on Scharnhorst as well. So wouldn't it be lovely if we could get the wood decks down? I think so, and then it feels like we're motoring. So that's basically what we did with the modelling weekend. Otherwise, we were quite busy because we're still gearing up with decorating the room. We've had new sofas put in. Would you like to see? Go on then. Right, at this point we usually talk about the special people in the hobby, and there is lots and lots of them, and I find that generally everyone's really friendly and helpful, and this was the first week in a little while that I've not had to block somebody, so yeah, that was nice. So you support the channel when you watch a video, because I have adverts running, and that generates a very, very small amount of revenue. To give you an idea, I will get around about £1 a day for a video that's had more than 1,000 views, and then after about a week that'll stop. So if I like my first episode of the Scharnhorst had 4,000 views, I think that earned like £6. So you get very, very small amount from the revenue, and then you get a bit of a trickle in. It's a percentage that adds up with all the other videos to make another £1 basically. So watching the videos really helps. Giving the thumbs up means that it gets suggested into other people's feeds who may not be subscribers but might be interested in that subject matter. So when you like a video, that means other people get to see it. It's how the YouTube, or my understanding of how the YouTube algorithm works. So by doing those two things, you really support the channel. I get people asking me things quite a lot of the time about what's going on, and sometimes quite cryptic messages. Like I had one about who said, yeah, really nice build, what happened to your build? What do you mean? don't understand. So I get some cryptic messages, and I can't do anything with those, unfortunately. But just the fact that you made a comment also is the same as hitting the like. So you can hit the like button, or you can make the comment, and that helps the channel. And I don't mind any comments as long as they are constructive. So if you think I've done something wrong, or you would like to volunteer a way you do it because you've seen me do it and think I could do it in an easier way or a more productive way, I'm interested, genuinely interested. We've all got stuff we can be learning all the time. But if you're going to come onto my channel and be negative, you know, it's zero tolerance. I just block you. The two things that you will get blocked for: one, you'll get blocked for being nasty to other people making a comment, or to me, my family, or the channel. All of those things have happened. So, yeah, jog on. And secondly, if you use bad language, there are youngsters that watch this. We don't need the bad language. I don't watch channels that repeatedly use bad language. There is one or two channels that I watch where they occasionally use bad language, and if they start using bad language, I stop watching the video because it doesn't need it. It's just not being able to eloquently say something, isn't it? Bad language at the end of the day. So I try and keep it family friendly. I have got videos set up so that if you do use bad language, it will be hidden from view, and I'll have to accept it and authorize it. And generally, I won't do. So even if it's mild bad language, I tend not to accept it. Very occasionally, I do. Sometimes it blocks a message because it thinks it's bad language and it's something similar to. So I had pap once blocked, which rhymes with something that would have been blocked. So it's just how it works. So if you put a message up and you don't see it immediately and wonder where it's gone, it'll be held for my review. Some channels do that with all of them. I just have some keywords that it looks out for. And if you put a link to another channel or particularly another website, it may well be held for review as well. That's YouTube doing that, not me. We used to have issues with a lot of people promoting pornographic stuff, but that doesn't seem to happen anymore. I haven't seen anything like that for a long time. So yeah, all good on that front. So thank you for the support. I always, every week, get some very kind words from people who've clearly enjoyed the videos, and not every video is for everyone, I get that, but I try and cover a wide, broad brush of interests. So we're capturing things for different people at different times, but you can't do it all every week. So yeah, so with that, that's a lovely smooth link into what's coming up next week. So next week on Monday, we have the next part of my airbrushing for complete beginners. I'm trying to do that sequence in that series in a logical sequence. So we started out with buying equipment and how to work through that, and an awful lot of positive comments about that. So again, thank you for that. Grateful for that. I've tried. If I was sat in a room and had to teach how to do airbrushing, this is how I'd do it, basically. Not that I'm saying I should teach, that I'm anyway an expert. Like I've said before, I'm just going to share what I know. But in a lot of cases, that's more than other people know. There's a lot of people who've never used an airbrush. So yeah, we'll do that. So the next one will focus on, now you've got your equipment, what next? So we'll focus on that, and then we'll continue to progress through that. And don't worry, I've had a lot of people making comments like, will you talk about this and will you talk about that? Don't worry, I will cover through everything. So we will show you how to get to grips with your airbrush. We will show you what the common issues are. we'll show you how to resolve them. We'll show you how to manage your air pressure. Everything I can think of, we will show you, and we'll do some painting with the airbrush and show you what to do to learn how to control your airbrush and all of that sort of stuff. We'll talk about thinning paint as well. Now, there's one or two people who've asked questions that there isn't a simple answer to. So one of them was talking about an issue with air passing over the needle and that being an issue. Well, I'm not familiar with the issue. I've never had that issue, so I can't really talk about it. But if you do have air seeming to whistle over your needle, it can only be happening in that section of your airbrush. So I've never had that problem, so I don't know how to resolve it. I don't know what's causing it, so I can't really talk about it on video. But what I would say is that in there's an assembly. So get your schematic. You usually need a screwdriver to undo this bit, and then pull it all out, have a look at it. You might find that there is a seal in there that has perished or compacted, and probably if you replace the seal, it'll solve the problem. But I don't really know. The only thing that can really go wrong with the airbrush is you damage it or the seals fail. Yeah, so that's all I can possibly say about that, but I certainly can't do a video on it. It's not a common issue. We'll just deal with common issues and how to detect some of them and what have you. And the other one was about mixing paint. So someone asked me, what's the ratio for thinning enamel paint? Depends on the condition of your paint, depends on the brand of your paint, depends on what you're thinning it with, depends on what you're doing with it. I take it it was on an airbrush thread, so I take it that you're airbrushing it. So if you're airbrushing enamel paints, there isn't a ratio, there isn't a magic figure. I can't say, well, you put 2 drops of thinner into every 4 drops of paint and you'll always be okay. Simply doesn't work like that. It's experience. It needs to be thin enough to go through your airbrush, and if you're not sure it's thin enough, make it a bit thinner. That's the rule. But we will talk about thinning paint, and we will talk about the difference between acrylic and enamel. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to give everyone the bad news that enamel paints is easier to use in an airbrush than acrylics, and particularly acrylic primers. People won't want to hear that because most people don't use enamel paints, or some people even think they don't use enamel paints when they do, because they use a lot of washers and stuff which tend to be enamels. But yeah, we will talk about that, and I will be giving advice as I see it, and we'll do it in a logical way so that we build you up to a point where you go, right, I can switch my airbrush on, I can put paint on. If I get these issues, I know what's causing them, I can solve them quickly, and when I finish the job, I know how to clean my airbrush and put it all away again. That's where I'm going to get you to. So how many videos that will be, just don't know yet. Just don't know. It'll be what it will be. Anyway, that is coming up Monday. Wednesday, we've got our first impressions of a tank. Quite a nice little kit, actually. It surprised me a little bit. So yeah, we've got a tank coming up. So a current release tank. So that'll be interesting. And then on Friday, I think it's part 2 of the B17. When I say think, it absolutely is. So part 2 of the B17, and I think that's sort of cockpit and bits and pieces. I think off the top of my head, might be wrong, but yeah. Yeah, that's next week. Now then, like I said last week, I've got some kits I need to sell to create space and create some funds for the channel. So I'm going to be selling some kits off each week. Now, around about 8.5% of my subscribers watch Table Talk each week. So you special lucky people get the first dibs on these. I'm not going to be promoting these, the kits that I want to sell outside of Table Talk. So only the people that watch Table Talk will get to know that I'm selling kits and which kits I'm selling each week. So my plan is each week to get 3 kits out of my stash that I'm deciding to sell for whatever reason. I'm trying to be realistic with myself. I've got 2 motivations here. One is to create space and create funds so that I can buy more kits for reviewing on the channel. So all the money is going to go, that we generate from these sales is going to go into the channel. And my other motivation is to be realistic in the kits that I keep for building, because last year I built, what, 9? The year before I built 7. And I've got something like 400 in my stash, and some of those are big projects. So I have to be realistic. So we are going to get rid of some of them. So the ones that I think I'm never going to get round to building for whatever reason, we're going to sell. And we're going to start this week with these 3. And I'll take you through them and then I'll tell you how much I'm looking for. So how this is going to work is, if you're interested in one of these kits, you send me an email to modelkitstuff@gmail.com, and you tell me that you're interested and you give me how much you'd like to pay. So I'm going to give you my reserve, and that includes postage within the UK. If you're desperately wanting this kit and you're in Australia or what have you, I'm going to have to go and get you a price and calculate a price for you. So I think most people will be interested in this for within the UK only, to be honest, but I don't know. So I'm willing to ship, but the shipping cost will be on top. So if you end up agreeing that you're going to spend £20 on a kit and it turns out the shipping's £30, it'll be £30 on top of the 20, and I won't ship until I've got the money, because I've been caught before with trusting people. So unfortunately, it's just one person that spoils it for everyone else, as is always the case. So yeah, here we go. 3 kits. I'm going to talk you through them one at a time. We'll start with this bottom one. So this is the Tamiya Cannonwagen. Okay, getting on a bit now as a kit. However, you don't just get the kit. So you get the kit, you get replacement individual track links, you get resin replacement wheels with tires, which are really nice, and you get a set of photo etched replacement dials for on the inside, like the driver's dashboard. So that replaces the rubber band tracks, the slightly basic wheels, and the decals that are included, that are a bit chunky anyway, included in the kit, for the dashboard at least. So the kit itself is as depicted. You get this figure and the guy painting it. It's not started in any way. Bags are open because it's been reviewed as first impression. Now, all of that together is currently valued at about £38. My reserve posted to you, which in the UK generally it's about £5. So what I'm doing is I'm putting £5 on every kit and then adding what I want as a minimum. So my reserve on this posted to you is £20. So what you need to do if you're interested in this is send me an email and make me an offer. So if you offer £20 and you're the only bidder, you'll get it at £20. But if someone offers me £23, they'll get it. Highest bidder wins. If I get 3 bids and they're all £20, I'll put the name in the hat and I'll pick one. Simple as that. And then I'll drop you an email. You can put the money into my PayPal account, and once I see the money, I will ship it. So yeah. So all you got to do is drop me an email, tell me how much you're prepared to pay, and then if you win it, I'll ask you for your shipping details and stuff then. So you don't need to send them on the first email. Simple as that. Now, I have tried to do this before and people have won it and then they haven't replied to emails because they've clearly changed their mind and they're not grown up enough to say so. You know, if you do change your mind and situations change and you can't afford 20 quid anymore, then just let me know. It's fair on me and it's fair on anyone else who's bid for it who I can then go to. So there you go. That £20 if you're interested. Next is this. It's the Mini Art P47D new tool Thunderbolt. We reviewed it very recently. It's a very new kit, 1/48 scale. This is the advanced kit. You get all the extras in it. It's quite a complex little kit. Very, very nice. You can go and check out my first impressions if you're not sure. Now, this retails currently about £52 in the UK. Plus shipping. I will accept offers over 45 because it's a new kit and I want to get as much money back as I can on this for the channel so we can invest it in something else. So at £45 posted to you, that's a utter bargain, but if you want to donate a little bit more to help the channel, you're welcome to do so. So a minimum of £45, and if you're interested, just drop me an email again saying, yeah, I'm interested, and how much you're prepared to pay. So if you want to pay £45 and you want to donate £5, that could be the winning bid. If you want to just go for £45 and chance your luck, do that. So yeah, modelkitstuff@gmail.com. £45 reserve on that one, please. The next and final one for this week is the Bristol Beaufighter TFX 172 scale Airfix, relatively new tool. Comes with 2 markings and it's a skill level 2. Yeah, this comes with a big headset. And here's your big headset. So the big headset comes with landing flaps, the Beaufighter set, and I think harnesses as well. So you get everything you need to super detail it really. Now then, that is no longer available. You cannot do that. It's not even shown as a discontinued line on the Edward website anymore. I did have a look. This has never been used. Inside has never been. It's been opened to check that everything was in there, but none of the bags inside there have been opened. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the kit for free, and I'm just going to sell you the big headset, and I'm going to tell you why. There is a reason. So altogether, if you bought this and this, it would cost you around about £55 altogether for the kit and the big headset at the time it was released. Like I say, you can't get hold of that anymore. I think this particular kit is now discontinued in that current livery. But this has been primed in Tamiya Fine White Spray Can Primer. I seem to remember Daisy did it. It needs a little bit of rubbing down in a small handful of places where it's gone on a little bit thick. I've had a look at it and it is definitely easily salvageable, just needs a little bit of sanding down. There's no major issues at all. But because it's been opened and because it's been pre-primed, you can have that for free. So you're just going to be paying for this, and then you can either use this or you can sell it on, or you can chuck it away and buy another one. Or if you've got this in your stash, you're buying this and you've got that for spares if you need it. So £20 posted. I'll send you all of that for 20 quid. So again, send me an email, modelkitstuff@gmail.com. With your bid amount, and the highest bidder wins, but I want 20 quid for it because the Edward set is worth at least a third more than that, and it's out of production, so maybe even more. So there you go. I think one way or another they're all bargains. The whole point of doing this is to generate some more money for the channel and create some space so we can buy more stuff. I think that might be it for this week. So there we are. That's my 3 kits that we're selling this week. Looking for new homes, looking to support the channel. Hopefully someone's interested in all of those. thanks very much for looking in. Really enjoyed going through my stash and picking out what we were going to sell and this week. I've got some great stuff coming up. The Scharnhorst is about to break into life and do something a little bit more different than the constant modifications to the hull. B17's coming up, and that's going to start motoring along. The Char B1 build, I think there's probably one, possibly two more videos on that. And then we're through. We're not that far off with the B17 of starting to think about painting the fuselage. Got wings and engines to do. That's not going to take us as long as the interior, I don't think, and so therefore we're probably only a month away from starting the next new kit, which is that Tempo, which we're going to do as a little diorama. So something different again, some figures to paint, which we've not done on the channel before, and I'll take you through my way of doing that, and something I want to improve on anyway. So I'll be trying some new techniques in there, and we'll be doing some really heavy weathering and taking a small kit and absolutely wringing it dry and trying to make something impactful. That I want to try and do something that I'd happily put in a competition, even though I don't tend to enter them. So there you go, all of that sort of stuff coming up, plus the Space 1999 Eagle build that you've voted for, all coming up in future months. Well, we've got some kits here that can keep your stash going. Thanks very much for looking in. You enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and that way you won't miss my first impressions, my tool reviews, my product reviews, and any of my builds, including wooden model kits as well as plastic. It's all free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.